Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and these are the new AirPods 3rd generation, or AirPods 3. They're redesigned and meant to be more like AirPods Pro, but without the noise canceling. So let's go ahead and open these up. Now, these are $179.99, and you can see we have two pull tabs here to remove the wrapper or the top of the box. So no more plastic around the box. Let's go ahead and remove the top here and see what we've got. So it says designed it by Apple in California. It says AirPods. You've got your typical quick start guide. And then you've got your safety and handling, regulatory compliance, and also warranty summary. So typical things there. And then we'll move this off to the side. So you can see here's the AirPods 3, and it looks like we have a little pull tab here. And inside the box, we get a charge cable. So this looks to be pretty familiar. So we'll open this up, see what we've got here. And so it's all paper wrappers and everything, no plastic anywhere. And we have USB-C to Lightning. So pretty typical. It's not a braided cable or anything, but just your normal USB-C to Lightning cable. We'll set that aside and let's take a closer look. We don't have a charger in the box. So we'll go ahead and unwrap the packaging here. There we go. And here is the AirPods 3. Now the case is a little bit smaller than the AirPods Pro case. So in my left hand, I have AirPods Pro and the right is AirPods 3. They're very similar in the sense that they both have the Lightning port on the bottom, and then it's slightly magnetic because it uses MagSafe now. You have the option to use MagSafe. So they're actually holding together pretty tightly. We'll take a look at that in a moment. But again, very, very similar, about the same width overall. Now let's take a look at the AirPods. And here's one of the AirPods. We'll bring this up close. And as you can see, it looks similar to an AirPod Pro, but without the tip on the end. So you have a little speaker here that goes towards your ear. And then you also have a little speaker microphone on the top and one on the side. And on the front, you also have the pressure sensitive buttons as well, so you can skip tracks and things like that. So you'll press once to play, pause, or answer a phone call, press twice to skip forward, press 3 times to skip back, and then press and hold for Siri, or you can use Siri and put the word "Hey" in front of it, and it will recognize that if you have that feature turned on. So they look very, very familiar. Compared to AirPods Pro, I'll take the tip off of the AirPods Pro, and you can see what they look like. The stem might be a little bit shorter, and the overall look is very, very similar, but you just don't have the tip on the end of it. So they're very similar, although you do have the little microphone or speaker on the top, or air vent. I'm not exactly sure what that is at this point. Now let's go ahead and pair these, but before we do that, let's take a look at the case since it supports MagSafe. Now I have some magnet paper, and the new cases support MagSafe. You can see there's magnets in the back, and you can see where the magnets are, and they should help align it to, say, the MagSafe charger or adapter. So you have that option now, and they secretly released AirPods Pro cases with this same feature. So if we set that aside and bring in a MagSafe charger, we'll stick it on the back, and it adheres. So if you have a MagSafe charger, you can adhere it to the back and it should work without a problem. Now let's go ahead and pair the AirPods. So you just open them up if you've never done this before and go ahead and hit connect. It takes just a moment and then they pair. You also have media control here. Let me open those back up. There we go. And it automatically skipped all of the settings, but you have media control and you can have spatial audio with head tracking with these, but you don't have the noise cancellation ability. So they have adaptive EQ. They have custom high excursion Apple drivers, according to Apple, with a custom high dynamic range amplifier. You also have dual beamforming microphones, an inward facing microphone, skin detection sensor, a motion detecting accelerometer, speech detecting accelerometer, and a force sensor. You also have the H1 chipset, so it sort of understands what direction it is. And it's also sweat and water resistant at IPX4. So that should give you a general idea of how it is. Let me go ahead and listen to these for a moment. I'll see how they fit in my ear, and then we'll talk about if they're comfortable or what they feel like compared to an AirPod Pro. I listened to the AirPods 3 for just a little bit, and they sound pretty good. They have a surprising amount of bass, and they sound just like AirPods Pro, only not sealed in your ear canal. So they don't have transparency or noise cancellation, fan, but I find them very comfortable as I don't like things in my ear canal. So I do use those noise canceling headphones, but I prefer the ones that go over your ears as things in my ear canal sort of tend to irritate it over time, but I do use AirPods Pro a lot. These are definitely more comfortable. Now you can hear the ambient noise around them, so I find them great for maybe a workplace environment where you need to hear things around you, but you still want to listen to podcasts or music. And I also think they might fall out for some people. They're very comfortable. They fit in my ear easily, but I do think they'll fall out for some people, maybe if you were in an intense workout, or it's going to really depend on your ear shape. If you didn't really have the ability to use the first generation AirPods, I don't think you're going to be able to use these, so you may want to opt for the Pro. But in general, they seem to be really good, and then they have that head tracking as well, and you can turn that on and off. Let me show you that. With the AirPods connected, you can go to your control center and you'll see the AirPods show up there. Press and hold, and you'll have the option for spatialized stereo fixed. If you tap on it, you have head tracking or off. So you get all of the same sorts of options without the noise cancellation features of the AirPods Pro. You also have live listen, headphone levels, and headphone accommodations built in. And these will last up to 6 hours according to Apple. So up to 5 hours with spatial audio enabled and 6 hours with regular use. Also, up to 4 hours of talk time on a single charge. Now, the case itself holds up to 30 hours of listening time or 20 hours of talk time, and Apple says that 5 minutes in the case provides about 1 hour of listening with the AirPods, so they charge very rapidly. So it's great to see that, and they do have Bluetooth 5.0. And so just like any other AirPods, they're very convenient. There's not really much more to talk about. They sound pretty good. They actually sound surprisingly good compared to the first generation. They're much more on level with the AirPods Pro than the first gen. So if you have a first or second generation version, I would highly recommend you check these out, as I think you'll be happy with the overall sound. They are a little bit more money, but they definitely sound a lot better. And then you have the convenience of taking them out. They'll pause or put them back in. They'll start playing, and you can use them for movies and more. Let me know what you think of the third generation AirPods in the comments below. Have you picked some up? Are you going to pick them up? I'd love to hear from you there. If you'd like to get your hands on the wallpaper I have on my iPhone, I'll link it in the description like I normally do. And if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.